There are three main parts to making sure you sell well. There is your motivation for selling, there's the market you're selling in, and then there's what I call the gap, which is related to the price that you put on your home, which I'll explain shortly. Let's look first at your motivation. This is all about your reason for selling and urgency that does or doesn't surround that reason. Now, I want to start this DVD by saying this should all be about you. It should be about what you're wanting to achieve here. Selling your house is, I find, just a step towards something else that you want to achieve in life. So let's start by being really clear around what this is. Write it down somewhere. What is it that selling this property is going to give you? Let me give you an example. This job transfer means we just have to sell so we can move to Sydney, or we don't want to give it away, but we need to sell it because we're separating. It's time to get on with our lives. We only get half each, but we really do need to sell the home. We just want to go in different directions. Another one would be this investment has gone or is going nowhere. We'd have a lot less stress or even more money in our lives and in our bank account if we quit right now. You see, this is not about the house. It's about what it is you want to do with your current situation, or in some cases, with your lives. You do not sell a property for fun. I find that people just want to move on with some aspect of their journey, and sometimes to do that, we need to sell our properties. So be very clear around what it is you're trying to achieve here. Number two, the market you're selling on or are about to sell on. I think there are three types of markets that we move in that I talk about. Can I firstly say there is nothing magical about the real estate market. It is the same as any other. It goes up and it goes down, and sometimes it stays pretty static for long periods of time. It responds to supply and demand just like all markets do. So let's look at these three markets. One is a seller's market. Now in this market, we know now that there's not as many listings around. Supply is down because they are selling faster. The average time on the market, which is crucial as we plan our sale, is shorter. My experience here that it's around 21 to 30 days on average, and that's quite fast. The seller has control in this market. Turn down an offer today because of the demand out there, chances are there'll be another one right along. The volume of sales in this market is high. More sales, more buyers in the marketplace means it is easier for those who want to move up or down or transfer. Success rate of auctions under the hammer, and I say under the hammer because there are three parts to the modern auction. You can watch those on my auction DVD, is normally high. You can get up around 95% here. Now, the second market is a buyer's market. Pretty well the opposite, obviously. More listings on the market. Why? Because the volume of sales is down. There is less demand for homes and they sit on the market for much longer, months and months in some cases. The average time on the market blows out in this particular market, from 20 to as high as 120 days on average. You've seen this. The success rate under the hammer goes down dramatically. Now, it doesn't mean you drop auction as a possible sales method, and I explain that on my auction DVD. The balance market is the third market we need to touch on. Well, it's quite obvious. Enough buyers, enough homes coming on the market, and it all just evens out. The house itself here can be a catalyst for more or less demand. Really cool house may get more demand, so on. So the second exercise is to work out which market you're in. The newspapers and websites can help you here. Your agent can help you here. Different markets can mean very different decision making. For example, getting an offer on day one of a raging seller's market is a totally different deal than getting an offer on day one of a raging buyer's market, where it may be the best offer you ever get. How does the market you are in fit with your objectives so far? Now, the third main point to selling well is the gap or the price you put on your property. Let me show you first how pricing works. Then you'll be able to figure out a whole lot of what you need to do in terms of the market you're in and the objective that you've set yourself. In a moment, we're going to talk about finding the estimated market value of your home. But before we do this, it's important you know that once we find that value, there's what I call a reaction zone that sits just right above it. This reaction zone is normally, and I mean in any of the dozens of cities that I've worked in around the world, no more than 5%, and in a lot of cases closer to 3% above that estimated market value, as we call it. Now, how do we know this? Take a look at this. Here's a list of sales that I could get in any real estate office I cared to visit. It has two columns on it. One is the listing price when the home was actually finally listed and sold. So not the initial asking price, the one it was listed at when somebody came along and bought it. And have a look at the difference between that and the sales price. On average in this area, it's around 3.2%. And note also that I do not have to go far down the list to see that someone actually paid full price for a property. In some cases, buyers will actually pay more than the asking price if they have to get the house they want. So what does this mean? You don't have to be Einstein to work out that there's a strong relationship between the market value and getting a reaction, getting the offers, and eventually getting your home sold. I call this the gap. This gap between asking and market value is crucial if you want to get your home sold and get on with your life. Now, unfortunately, this flies in the face of two things. Get this and you will sell well, possibly for more, and in a much shorter period of time. The first is that when you come on the market, you come with all the hope in the world of what might happen when you list your home. What if two people want to battle it out on either auction or by tender? That's where two buyers have to put their best offers in say 24 hours. You also come into the market with, in some cases, pretty raw emotions. Now, I don't blame anyone for these, but they don't help you get top price. Things like, but we're getting the divorce and we need all the money we can get for the house so we can each get on with our lives and with some money. We paid $450,000 for it 2 years ago. We need to at least get that back. We're moving on or building another house and we've done our sums on getting $450,000 for this house. What happens here is this takes us further and further away from the reaction zone we know that's operating here. If you take us too far up this price column, then what kicks in is time. You will find that, nice house or not, even with all those wonderful alterations you made, simply nothing happens. You see sold signs going on all around you. Well, the agent you're dealing with seems to be selling other people's houses, but yours just sits. Can I say you may even get tens of people through your open days, and everything seems to be happening, but no one makes the offer. This gap is the key. This is what you have to pay attention to most of all, and no one seems to talk about it. Now, I said there were two issues with this higher price. The other is not so much an issue, but more of a paradox. It's the biggest unspoken aspect of getting your home sold. When you download all that emotion on an agent, it is at a time when they are competing to get your business. You've told them there are other agents coming in after them. So here's the deal. They can't tell you what's best for you in most cases. If they fly in the face of that emotion and tell you your home is only $410,000, you're not going to hear it. What the industry knows is that 9 times out of 10, you'll simply throw them out and list with the clown down the road who tells you what you want to hear. You get bad advice, but it fits in with that hope, that emotion that you brought with you. Again, no one talks about this, but think about it. 5 agents all vying for a paycheck. And if I give you the right advice, I'm out. So what they have to do first is win the game. Let you decide what you want for the house, take the listing, and then get to work getting the price down to within the reaction zone we're talking about. Now, this video is about you taking much more interest in what's going on. You find out the comparisons and you do some of the work for yourself. Now, if you're not up to this, if it's not something you want to do, or in a lot of cases you don't have the time, then let me give you another real golden nugget. Choose your agent first. That's right. Go to the trouble of working out who you can work with, who's trusted in the neighborhood, and then appoint them. Appoint them and let them do their work and show you where the price sits. The correct agent will know how to work this through with you. but will do a much better job for you if they do not have the pressure of knowing there are 3 other agents coming in a couple of hours. Sadly, I think vendors think the agents will try harder to get them a better price if they have the pressure of competition. The opposite is the case. They give you damaging information that can do real harm here and lose your money. But either way that you do this, you have to get real. You have to face up to what the market is telling you in the face of what emotions are running at the time. Let me tell you another secret. You'll face up to this now or later. And believe me, now is best.